Donald Trump has a dystopian viewpoint on where America is, where it's been, and not so much where it's going in the future, but he wants to make America great again, if you will. And so he's been in this race for some time. The whole issue of is he a decisive leader, that's kind of baked in. He's been the president before. But when it comes to democracy versus anarchy, the voting public, regardless of who takes that poll, clearly sees a joyous, a prominent, and a really positive message in the Democrats in regard to the strength of America, the world's greatest economy, and where we are, but more importantly, where we're going. And so polls are snapshots in time, and you can have a dichotomy like this. Not concerned about that, because in the end, you got to get one more vote than the next guy, no matter what poll you take, and that matters on November 3rd or November 5th when the general election is. You're going to see her be the best and take the best of the Biden economic policies that have driven this economy for sure. And then she's going to talk about price gouging and going to pass legislation or executive orders her first 100 days to enforce the FTC to make it more difficult for companies, including gas companies, energy companies, as well as food companies and meat companies, to bar them from price gouging and put a bigger eye on them, an enforcement mechanism. Because in the end, the president and the vice president cannot control inflation in this country. They get blamed for it, but they can't control it. And what many of us have suspected, Democrat and Republican, is when inflation is in front of us, is apparent, you know, these organizations, these companies could do a lot to bring prices down, but they're not. They're keeping them up almost as willing prisoners of inflation and saying this is what it is, but they're making deep profits based on inflation as opposed to keeping prices at a more reasonable amount that would help inflation come down, one, but also would help people feel better about how they're spending their money and how much they're spending. And so look for that to be a big part of her presentation. It won't be detailed, it won't be deep, but it'll certainly be part of her future economic plan and give people hope for a better future and better for their money going forward in this country. We've got a new candidate. They're not Donald Trump. Those protesters aren't voting for Donald Trump. They want peace in the Middle East, and Donald Trump may want that. He may not. But the Democratic ticket certainly does want that. And they've called for a peace plan, and they're advocating for it. Everything the protesters want, Biden and Harris have certainly done that. They just can't control the actual outcome of this dispute. And so they're meeting right now, I think. There's settlement meetings today and tomorrow on this very issue. If they can put this peace plan in place and get the hostages back, that's better for all of the country, and it's really better for the Middle East and the rest of the world.